All right, it is 11:02, so we are going to go ahead and get started here. Everybody hear me okay? Awesome. Okay. So welcome to the July cataloging meeting for the MEC Consortium. The email I sent out, I was smarter this time and attached the full Zoom links because I confused everyone last month with that. So I appreciate everybody for hanging in there with me. So up first, we have cataloging committee news. That's just kind of listed on there every month, where we've made the last cataloging committee report and the monthly cataloging reports that we receive from Rogan each month. Those are also listed on there. I've taken to putting those there. So if you misplace your email that month, which I often do if I don't star it, I can go back to the itinerary here and find those really easily. So those are there for you guys as well. So cataloger committee, well, consortium cataloger news, that's me. So what have we been doing? We finished our last regional training for this round. So hooray. I think regional trainings this time went really well. That doesn't mean you're not going to see me anymore. Those are just the ones for this section. So the spring and summer. Not sure when the next ones will be, maybe fall, maybe next spring or summer, we're not sure yet. But I have added on to where you signed up for the regional trainings, a link to small group and one-on-one Zoom trainings. So I will click on this and show you all what it looks like here. There we go. So basically right now I just have Fridays open because those are generally the time that everybody has available. Usually people don't like to schedule meetings on Friday. So you can schedule meetings with me. So basically what you would do is you would choose a Friday and you can choose a time slot, and then it will send an email to me and I will confirm and then kind of get some information on what you would like to have some training about. It could be MEC specifically related. It could be MARC or RDA related, something like that, subject headings, whatever. So that's gone online if you guys want to take a look at that, if you're interested in that, or as always, you can email me if you don't necessarily want to use that little thing we have going up, the calendar thing. So moving right along, we are at, for cataloging certification, we currently have 138 individuals catalog certified at basic, so which is amazing. That went up 5 last month. I had 5 people turn in their basic stuff, so that's awesome. Advanced is at 88. Recertification, again, we talk about this every month. Recertification will be in 2024. I am working on that to update the documentation. So far, it will be kind of in the same iteration as it was last time, where you get the document and you send me the screenshots. For now, we don't know if we'll have something else in the works by then, but for now, you can plan on it being similar to last time. All right. Everybody had a couple months to go into the image upload questionnaire that I had sent out and linked in the last meeting, and tell us kind of if you had planned on using the image uploader and how many images, like a guesstimate of how many your library or system had. That varied quite a bit. I know some smaller places maybe had 10, 20, and then larger places had, hundreds and hundreds. So we had 34 responses to that, which gave us kind of a snapshot of what we can expect of people using that. And kind of what we're going to do now is we're going to open up the image uploader for people to use. So if you would like to upload images and you don't have that permission, contact me and I will open it for you. And then as we get into recertification and farther along with the bulk of images being uploaded, because some people have a whole lot, we'll probably lock that down. But from those responses, there are several places that have many, many, many images to upload in there for the cover images. So we kind of wanted to let everybody, one, kind of play around with that. It's very easy, and to get the bulk of them out of the way before we close it down a little bit. So if you want to mess around with that, please go for it. And if you find that you don't have the permission to upload the image, you can send me an email with your login name like I'm any cataloger is mine. And I will look at your permissions and make sure your permission is turned on for that. Moving right along. So Cataloging Connect, this is just where we always put where the upcoming meetings are for MEC, and where you can find the meeting calendar. As always, we are if you're here, you know, the second Monday of the month at 11 a.m. But when are the other meetings for the consortium, that's where you can find them on that calendar. So it's just a good little quick look there. So as you'll notice today, we are moving right along. We're going to keep this meeting specifically like very short. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people coming online, getting a lot of questions, but you know, sometimes they like to be, you know, short and sweet, right? Okay, so we're going to move on to our cataloging discussion. And as you probably noticed in the itinerary, if you look through, there's a hyperlink here. And I'll show you what this looks like. I would like everybody, and somebody has already done this. Grundy, look, I see you have done this already. You're my favorite today. I'm sorry, guys. But I would like everybody, one person from each library, to go into this shared spreadsheet and mark whether they circulate things together separate. We're talking like, think of like, you know, the DVDs we always talk about when you have to apply monograph parts. We're just trying to get a, you know, an inkling of how this is done. We always are like, oh, we think people mostly circulate things together, but we honestly don't know because we've never asked everyone. So this is kind of that. So if you would all like to go on there and kind of fill in, and there's just the easiest questionnaire ever. You can just find your library and then choose your drop down and together separate, fill that in for us. And so we can have those numbers and kind of get an inkling of how that's working through the consortium, because we honestly don't know because we've never asked.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What if we do it both ways? Like depending on the size of the set, like if it's a 2-disc set, we don't break them down, but if it's 8 discs that we do.
That is, we didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was an option. So what you would do on yours, Carol, is you would go just put something in the C column and you can fill that in. Don't choose either and say, it depends. I didn't know that was an option. I should have put that on there, but that's good to know.
Okay,
so
thanks.
You are very welcome. And thank you all. I can see you in there being diligent little catalogers and filling those out. So that just kind of gives us an idea of like training and stuff and everything else moving forward. And when we talk about things, how we should talk about things. And next we're going to go over, and I feel like this is the horse we're just going to keep beating to death because this is new. So the on-order records. On-order records, guys. So we've talked about how when you do an on-order record and you put those in, we're making it so the 245, right, that's the title field, is in all caps. So if you're doing on-ordered records and you need help doing that, that's a separate question, but I can help you with that also. But this is more about what happens then when other people come in and see these on-order records. Like what's your responsibility for those? So if you add an on-ordered record, it has the capital field, you go about your business. The first person who comes in and has that item in hand, like you have it in your hand, it's at the library, you're ready to catalog it. You cannot add your item to that without updating that record. If you're either, let's say, not comfortable updating the record or something like that, you would set that aside and wait for whoever next comes along to update that record. Do not add holdings onto things that you have not updated to completion. Okay, does that make sense? So that's fine if you need to set your aside and let the next library come along, and it's just kind of how consortium cataloging works. We're working in like a bell curve of information, right? But please do not add your item on there if the record is not updated to like consortia level, like we've talked about, like what we want it to look like. But what that would mean is you're looking at your 650s, you're checking those O2Os, and you are taking that out of capitalization. If you add your holdings, you should be taking that out and making that look like a clean record. So who is responsible for that? Kind of the first person who comes across it and does it. But again, if you are not comfortable doing that, you can always set your item aside and wait for somebody else to do that. That is fine. And then, we could talk about some training and how to get you comfortable doing that. But Those on order items, guys, do not add your items if you do not update them, because it makes other people angry in the consortium. That's fine, it happens. There's always angry cataloger emails. We know how we are in certain days of the week. But please update those. And if you're not comfortable doing so, please contact me on the form we just talked about, and I will get you some training on maybe doing some copy cataloging and getting you comfortable to changing those records. Okay, does everybody understand what I'm saying? Yes, thank you for the head nods. It makes me feel better in my life. Okay. So I'm starting a new kind of section in here where every cataloging meeting, we're going to talk about a new mark field. We're going to say mark field 101. Okay, so I picked one at random. That was a relatively easy one to start out this greatest hits we're doing with this. So we're going to talk about the 020 mark field today. And that is one of, right, the easier mark fields. That is where your ISBN goes. Correct, right? Okay, so I'm going to open up OCLC bid formats and show you that. Okay, I recommend OCLC bid formats. It's free. Let's say that first, because many things that OCLC has for you are not free. OCLC bid formats, however, is. Anyone can access this, and it's very easy to use. You can see up here, you can just click on the 4XX or whatever, and they will list them to the side here. And you can pick, and it gives you directions on how to do each one. Highly recommend this. I use it all the time. No one can remember everything about every mark field. Sometimes you just have a question, does a period go at the end? Who knows? This is where you would find that information. Now, the 020 is our ISBN. So we're going to find that mostly on books, right? But you can see that on DVDs or other things. It's it's international standard number. So your A field is where you would put your ISBN, and that's the easy part. But what we're going to talk about today are the other fields attached. We use this a lot in cataloging in the consortium, the Q field. So that they call it qualifying information. So it sounds like it means nothing, but what that is where, let's say you have a hardback of an item, a hardback iteration of a book. You could put that in the Q field, and that's what we suggest you do in the consortium, right? Because we like to merge our hardbacks and our paperbacks together. So you would put your ISBN, and then you would put your qualifying information. So it could be hardback, it could be paperback, it could be large print paperback, it could be trade paperback. And what does that look like? Now, OCLC bid formats is also great because it follows these standard rules, like, okay, it opens it up, it tells you what the field is, and then it has this R or sometimes an NR. R means it's a repeatable field. So when you're in a bid record in MEC, you will see some records, especially if they've been merged several times, that have maybe 4, 5, 6 020 fields, and this is what that R tells us. Yes, it's a repeatable field. You can see that multiple times in that record. So when you're looking at a merge record, you may see literally like 6 fields. So let's find one. And I thought I had this all logged in, and I did not. So my bad this morning, guys. There we go. Okay. So this is kind of a search I do often because it's a very popular book, and it always seems, you know, with consortium cataloging, with people being, libraries being added, it always seems to need a little bit of cleanup. So I search this one a lot and use it as an example. So we're the crawdads thing. Let's look, just pull up any one of these. Let's view marks. Here you go. Okay, so here we have our 020, our A field, what actually follows in here. And as we've talked about, a 978 ISBN will have the shortened one. It will have the 10-digit also. So here's the shortened one below it. And we do like to include both of those. So people can glance at it. If they have the 10-digit ISBN on the back of their book, say, or the 13, they can just glance at it and see they're there. And then here's your qualifying information. Here's your Q. So this one tells us two things. It says, oh, hey, it's a paperback, awesome. And it also tells us it's large print. That's great. So when we go to merge, we can see that. Now this one, it's just one for one book. But if we go back out here, and let's see, look at this one. So many items attached. Here we go. Here's one that has those two together. So this one has 4, but it could have, you know, any numerous amount depending on the items that have been merged on there for the consortium. So of course, here's your queue again, hardback, paperback. Now, as you'll see in OCLC bid formats, there are all sorts of subfields that can be used in the ISBN. The ones we generally use are A, Q, so the ISBN A, Q is your qualifying information, and then very rarely we will see a Z. Generally, we don't like to use the Z. The Z actually means it's like an ISBN that maybe used to be attached to this item and doesn't really go. I would say the only place it's appropriate to see a Z in MAC Consortium is maybe for a Wonder book. Because we all know when we catalog those Wonder books, they have put a new ISBN on it because it was the book and they glued the audio player onto it and gave it a new ISBN. Now, sometimes those old ISBNs peek out and we find them on those. And that would be a place you would see the Z. And so it would say, that tells you this isn't actually the ISBN to this item, but it's connected to it. Otherwise, we don't like to use those. Sometimes you'd see them with like the ebook and on like an actual paperback record. We can take those out. We don't like that, right? So that's what you need to worry about for your O2O. It's a very simple field. It's your ISBN and then it's your qualifying information. Done. Anybody have questions about your ISBN? It's one of the easier fields. That's why we wanted to talk about it first. There's not a lot of variation. Generally starts with a 978 or a 979, has an A, maybe has a Q. Good field, doesn't even have really any crazy punctuation we have to worry about. Okay, the last thing we had on for our meeting today was Kate was going to talk about transferring items. So I did not prepare for this, but poor Kate is not here today. But what Kate is doing is, because we get questions about how to transfer items from one bid to another, probably 10, 20 times a week. The directions we currently have are very confusing. And I've been talking to Kate, and Kate is working on actually making a video to show her easy way to do this. Apparently it's different from my way, which is apparently not the easiest way, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Kate knows more about the items than I do. So she's not at the meeting today. She was going to show us this. So we are going to put this on the next meeting and Kate is going to show it. But she is also going to create a video. And when this video is up, I will send it to the listserv. Along with that video, I will probably also make some written directions to accompany that, because this is a question we get all the time. And it is confusing because of all the buttons there are. So I'm sorry, that's a until next time kind of thing on this meeting. So I apologize for that. But that is really all we had to talk about today. We wanted to talk about, we finished our regional trainings. We are going to start a new mark field. So if anybody has a special mark field request for next time, I just chose an easy one this time. Please let me know. We can talk about it more in depth. And then transferring items, we're going to continue to talk about that and create better directions, because the ones right now they're poor. So that's what's happening. Anybody have any questions this time? I know it's a very short meeting, kind of a quick and dirty meeting, but no.
Liz, I do. They talked at the Evergreen conference that they were working with OCLC to get everybody in Evergreen on that. Is there any word with that yet?
Janet is working through the state. That's who's talking about this. So Janet's working through the state, and this has to do with state funding and OCLC coming up with kind of like a pricing for them. And the way this is played out, and because of how fiscal years are coming, this is not something that's probably going to be happening till next fiscal year or even the one after.
Okay.
Because of the way they have to come up with our pricing, because how do they price a consortium and kind of figure out what they have now and how to replace it out. So that is something that Janet is still asking questions about at OCLC, and it is still on the table and how that will look and hopefully happen. So it's still a possibility, but we don't have any more information than the fact that we would like this to happen, and stay tuned.
Okay.
That's a great question. Thanks, Nancy.
We do have it and it's wonderful. I just wish everybody else did.
Yes, and it makes everything so much more convenient. You can find a lot more records in OCLC that you could otherwise find. But I do encourage those who don't have OCLC, if you are looking for a record and you're like, man, this is a popular title, why can't I find this? Send me the information and I can look. I have access to OCLC. I can look and see if we can add a record, and then you don't have to add it yourself. That's always an option too for now. I know that's not as great as having it yourself, but somebody being able to help you out with it works too for now. So anybody else have any questions for me? Okay, so thank you to those who answered our questionnaire about image uploading, the cover image uploader. If you need that permission, please email me and I will turn that on for you. And please go in and answer how your library circulates things, whether together or separate, or if Carol was, it depends, which I didn't even know that was an option. So thank you, Carol, again for that. Otherwise, if there are no other questions, this is short, simple meeting this month. Anybody have anything for the good of the party? Okay. Yeah, that's a very cute baby. All right, guys, we will see you again in August. And if you need me for anything, you know where to find me. You have my email, you have my cell phone number. Please contact me if you need any questions answered or any training. And happy cataloging.